back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Catherine, your bestie.
Yes. The one and only Catherine, my bestie.
Yeah, the one and only.
All right. Well, good to see you,
I'm
Catherine.
fully here.
Yes, fully here.
Yeah.
All together.
Second time around. We
did a oopsie.
Yeah,
with the technology. No big deal.
Well, the funny thing is it wasn't really one, but I thought it was, so.
Yeah, but now we know it's not.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
If you are a new listener to our podcast, welcome aboard. Toot toot.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Catherine and Tracy train.
Yeah, which is not a crazy train, just a good train. I don't know.
Sometimes
I don't
it
know
is.
where I'm going with all of this.
It's okay. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Just let the flow.
I think I was really shook up when I walked in the door.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine came to the pod lab, which is also in my master bedroom closet.
Mm-hmm.
And she forgot her charger, which she needed for the computer so that we could record.
Mm-hmm.
So she had to go home to get it. And meanwhile, I was just waiting for her by the back door with my iPhone video ready to press go.
Unbeknownst to me.
Which you should know by now.
I suppose.
You
tricked me. You could go for a couple months or more, and I come a lot. You know, I'm over here. And so I don't know. I'm not thinking about your evil schemes.
Right. Well, if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, go on Instagram, which is something new to me, by the way. I mean, I know it's not new to the world, but it's new to me. I had an Instagram account forever and ever, but I didn't really know what to put on there until your daughter said, you should put these videos on there of you scaring my mom. It was your daughter's fault.
Oh.
Remember?
Okay, I do now.
Now you go smack her.
Right.
Anyway, I have had a habit of scaring Catherine. I call her Scaredy Cat.
Mm-hmm. The habit is what you call it.
It's a habit. I can't stop.
Okay.
It's too much fun. Yeah.
Anyway, so she did that.
I did.
When I walked in the door.
Right. And it got her blood pumping and her heart going.
Yes.
So I'll be posting that to Instagram later today. If you're interested, it's Tracy DeGraff Comedian at whatever Instagram thingy.
Right.
All right. Well, what are we talking about today, Catherine, on this podcast?
Popular sayings, and where did they come from?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're also known as
idioms.
Right. That's a term that I kind of knew what it meant, but then I had to look it up.
Well, I did too, just to be sure.
So what is the definition of an idiom? Not idiot.
No.
Idiom. Yeah.
It is a phrase or even a word that's used to describe something or a particular circumstance, situation. It's got to be unique to the native language. So because, most countries have their own little quippy sayings.
Right.
And it's almost like painting a picture for the person that is hearing it.
Okay.
So basically,
they are unique to whatever culture. So so well known within the culture of the original language speakers.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got a couple takeaways, but before we get to that, we do have sponsors.
That's right, we do.
For the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. And who are they, Catherine?
They are Muffin and Pooh.
Oh, who's Muffin
Ron
and Pooh?
And Kenny, our husbands.
Yes.
It's sponsored by them because they pay for this, basically.
Basically, they do right now. But you know what? That's one of the things we have to put on our to-do list. We need to put it on our to-do list that we're going to let our listeners help us bring this podcast out to the world. Because Muffin and Pooh, they're great, but they're not going to hang in there forever.
Sure,
I mean, they are.
Sure.
They're not going to leave us.
They don't even realize they're paying for this.
Well,
not really.
Shh. Yeah,
they don't hold it against us.
No, because
we're not indebted. I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, but they're not listening to the podcast really. Once in a while we catch them listening, but they're not our target audience.
Yeah.
Like our target audience isn't a 55-year-old male named Muffin or Pooh. Our target audience is really women.
Yeah.
So we are going to give our listeners an opportunity to become sponsors of the podcast, and we just haven't done that just yet. We felt like we needed to get our legs under us first to make sure that we could consistently bring decent content.
That's an idiom, by the way. Get our legs under us.
Oh, I didn't even realize it.
We use them all the time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's jump in. Thanks, Muffin and Pooh, for hanging in there with us. And we'll give you other gals a chance to jump on board as soon as we get there. So it's coming, but it's just not yet. All right. Takeaway number 1.
What is it?
The origin of favorite idioms.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You have the little website over there.
I do. Oh, no, I don't. No, the website is... See, I'm on our Audacity, which is what we use to record. So I got to flip over. And it is smartwords.org.
Okay.
So the most useful idioms and their origins.
Okay.
All right. But let me see here. What did I use here? First of all, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you remember when you were a kid, did you ever see that cartoon? It was like a very old one. And this man, he goes to heaven. And at heaven, the old guy at the gate, I don't know who he's supposed to be. He's probably that.
Well, they claim that St. Peter is the pearly gate guy.
And he's taking a record of how a person passed away. Like, what's the reason they passed away?
Okay.
And so this young, hip guy comes in with all these phrases. It's actually called Symphony. I think it's called Symphony of Sarcasm or something like that. Symphony of...
Is this a British thing?
No, you don't recall?
No.
Anyway, so he goes up to heaven, and he dies of laughter. Dies from laughing.
Died laughing.
Yes.
All right.
And so he goes on to explain his life story, and he says he's born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he goes on, and he's like, it's really funny.
It's all idioms.
You don't remember it though?
No.
Oh. All right. Well, anyway, it's quite funny.
Okay.
And I was reminded of that when we were working on this.
Okay.
Yeah. But
sorry.
If you don't remember,
I got nothing for you.
Funny.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Okay. Should we start with our origins? All right. One, these are just some that I thought were unique. Like I used to hear, and I would say, why do people say that? So break a leg is one. Why? Whoever came up with that?
Well, I don't know, but they do say that in the entertainment world. They don't say good luck for some reason. They say break a leg.
Exactly.
Because good luck supposedly gives you bad luck, and break a leg makes you better.
That's exactly right. That saying good luck is actually bad luck, and it did start in the theater and that kind of thing. So if your performance was very liked by the audience, then you might have a curtain call. And so the curtain call was when they would have a stick. Now, of course, this is a long time ago before better engineering. Yeah.
Okay. So they have a stick.
So the stick was used to raise and lower the curtain.
Okay.
And if you had many standing ovations or encores or whatever, you'd have so many that it would break the stick. So, which was called the leg, actually.
Oh.
The stick was called the leg.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say?
No.
I was picturing the performer going out, coming back, going out, coming back. And I thought that the performer was going to trip over the
stick
and break their leg.
Well, I could see where, sounded like it was going that way.
Okay, so break a leg. Now we know.
Break a leg. So that's what it's from.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another one that I always wondered, what does that really mean and where did it come from? Mm-hmm. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Okay. Okay, let me guess.
Okay.
Because something about a horse's mouth, it like says their value. Something about when you're buying and selling horses or whatever. If you were going to buy a horse, you would like do this.
They would
and look.
Yeah, they would count the teeth is what they would do, because you could tell how old a horse is by its age by how many teeth.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
So you wouldn't want to evaluate your gift in front of the gift giver? Is that it? Like, don't...
Yeah.
Okay. That's it?
It'd be rude.
Well, it would be rude.
Right. To, guess the value.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Off the cuff.
Okay, wait. Off the cuff. So off the cuff is like off the top of your head. I have no idea how they came up with that.
Public speakers in the 1930s wrote notes on their shirt cuffs in case they forgot their speeches.
What a great idea. I should do that for my comedy set.
I don't think you're going to be wearing long sleeves, though.
Probably not. I'm too hot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
All right.
Put a sock in it is another one.
Like dummy up.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
Be quiet. Mm-hmm. Too loud. Just be quiet. When people used to listen to gramophones, so record players, basically.
Okay. Wait a minute. You said gramophones?
Gramophones.
Gramo?
Mm-hmm.
When you first said it,
I say?
Well, I don't know what you said or what you're talking about, but I pictured grandma, like old grandma.
Oh.
The headphone, like me and you, like gramophone, even
Okay.
though we're not grandmas.
No.
Okay, keep going.
They didn't have volume control. And the only way to turn down the volume was by stuffing something in the big...
so put a sock in it.
So it was usually a sock. Yes. It was the only way to turn the volume down, to mute it a little bit.
Very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just remember, folks, that's one of the rude ones. It was funny because I was thinking about how, there's just tons and tons of idioms, but some are rather rude.
Yeah.
Or insulting.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. Raining cats and dogs.
It's raining hard, but where do the cats and dogs
where do the cats and dogs
in?
come from?
Maybe it's raining so hard that the sewers are filling up and all the cats and dogs that were in the sewers are bubbling up into the street?
No.
Okay, what
but
is
good,
it?
Good guess there. Historical English homes had hay roofs, and they were very slippery when they were wet, and they'd get like oily. So when it was raining. So if there were animals on there, which there often were, then that's where they came up with that phrase.
Because it would sweep them off the roof?
Right, exactly.
Wait,
they would just slide right off.
Back up. How long ago are we talking that British homes were made out of hay?
Well, there still are. Thatch roofs are very...
Still?
Mm-hmm. I don't think they currently make them that way, but they still have homes over there that have the thatch roof. That's a very... Not seen that? Like cottage homes in the country?
I've seen, like...
thatch roof?
Hansel and Gretel. But I'm picturing modern day, like it's 2021. I'm picturing aluminum or
Well, they
something.
don't, like I said, they don't currently make them like that, but they used to. I don't know how long ago, but some homes still exist with those. I think it's more in the countryside, though.
That would make sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they're real cottagey, really charming.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody, if you're listening from a thatched roof, let us know, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the last one, which I thought was quite, I wanted to end with this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This one, rule of thumb.
Okay. It's got to be some kind of a standard measurement or something, right? Because if the rule of thumb is like, this is the way it goes, this is the typical way.
Yeah.
So does it have to do with, I'm guessing, like if you're getting meat or something from the grocery store and they have a scale, is there anything, is it?
No.
Oh, wait,
No.
let me try another guess.
Okay.
Okay. So if it's not that, then perhaps it's like carpentry, maybe?
In a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell me.
Right.
No.
So we know that, first of all, that a rule of thumb is like a basic rule, but it's not necessarily always correct.
Right.
So the term comes from medieval times when the diameter of your thumb, and by the way, it has to be a man's thumb, I would think. Anyway, when you hear...
you have little baby doll hands.
I know,
Okay.
but when you hear the outcome. So, yeah, the thumb was the largest diameter of a stick, which was, wait for it.
Oh,
What?
the break a leg thing?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Which was legally allowed to beat your wife.
What? So they weren't sponsoring their wives' podcast back then.
No. They
Okay.
were beating
So
them.
it was legal for them to beat the woman
As long
with a
as it was-
stick that was at least not thicker than that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm
Sadness.
imagining it would have been the man's thumb, not the woman's thumb. Do you imagine?
Right.
Because
too
like
bad it's
if
not
it
the
was the
baby's thumb.
lady's thumb. Yeah. Can you believe that?
Who goes, okay, we know it's not right, to beat a wife, but we're gonna give you some room to beat her.
It's okay if you use a twig. Which reminds me, like a switch stick outside of schoolhouses back in the day, they would have a bush that had, they called it a switch, and they'd break off a branch and they'd whack the kids
That's
with
what
their,
they would whip them with.
yeah.
Well, thank goodness we've come a
Quite
ways
cruel.
from there.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Muffin and Pooh aren't listening to this. Get some ideas.
Yeah.
We're going to put the link to that because there's many more.
My
dozens.
goodness. Yeah.
Dozens.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put that link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you check out the show notes. And if you're not getting the show notes on a weekly basis, all you have to do is go to my website, tracydegraff.com, and sign up to receive my emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, because finally, after
Yes.
10 years
Oh my gosh.
or more of collecting email addresses, I finally have something to say to these people.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
You have a whole new stack too.
I know. I already put in most of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yay. I just did an event last Thursday night
Mm-hmm.
at the Blue Chip Casino in Michigan City, Indiana, which you would think would be Michigan City, Michigan, but it's not. It's Indiana. What fun did we have there?
Yeah, that was a blast.
Oh, it was
You
so
did
much
great,
fun.
too.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
really
a
did.
beautiful room. Wasn't that stage nice?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, the room was
Yeah.
fantastic.
You didn't need a leg to lift the curtain and
No,
all that.
no.
Went up. Yeah, some person just pressed a button probably.
We had fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one thing to add to these idioms.
Okay.
And this is the one thing that I found that I thought was so interesting about idioms. Did you know that it was an idiom that led to the arrest of the Unabomber?
No.
Oh, this
Really?
is this is the thing that I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want to tell you
Yeah,
because
right.
I wanted to tell you now. Okay, the Unabomber, you remember him?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, Ted Kaczynski.
Uh-huh.
He was this brainiac of a guy who was like, living off the grid, because he didn't trust the government or anyone. And he clearly had some mental,
Yeah.
stuff going on up there. Well, he wrote a manifesto, as you do when you're a bomber.
Okay.
And it was and it was like his thoughts and ideas and the way the world should work. And he sent it to like newspapers and stuff.
Oh, like a warning?
Well, the manifesto is kind of like, this is the way the world should work according to my brain. And this is why I'm blowing things up, kind of a thing.
Okay.
And if it would all just line up the way I'm seeing it, wouldn't have to blow things up and get your attention, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he sends this big manifesto, which is just a whole bunch of rambling,
Mm-hmm.
to the newspapers of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they all know that he's out there blowing stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, he puts in the manifesto the idiom. Have you heard of you can't have your cake
And eat it too?
and eat it too?
Mhm.
Right. So that idiom, which we know as, right, you can't have
Have
your
everything.
Right. But the original idiom of that
Mhm.
goes the other way. It goes, you can't eat your cake and have it too.
Okay.
Because really, literally, you
Mhm.
could have your cake and eat it too. How are you going to eat it if you don't have it?
Yeah. Right.
Now, and that would be true of Tracy, because if I have cake, I'm going to eat it.
Uh-huh.
But the original version of that idiom was you can't eat your cake and have it too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the
Can't save it.
right, because you've eaten it.
Yeah.
You've consumed it. So now you no longer have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we say it that way?
Well, somewhere down the line, out there in the universe, somebody flipped it and thought that it made better sense that way. But this guy, Ted, see, he's all about your yes is your yes, your no is your no, it's black, it's white, it's this, it's that.
Okay.
He had it the correct way in the manifesto.
Oh.
And so that led the profilers that were trying to figure out who he
Yes.
was,
Mm-hmm.
that led them to him.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is.
And that's how they ended up getting a warrant to search his property, because they proved pretty reasonably to the court, this guy is our guy.
Yeah. They were looking for somebody who crosses the T's and dots the I's.
Exactly.
And is very, let's just say, maybe anal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And on the fringes of society, because most people
Yeah.
were the other way with that particular idiom, but he was precise.
Precise. Mhm.
So there you go, Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wow. Yes,
Thanks
that's
to an
interesting.
idiom.
Yeah.
Yeah, idiot. Anyway. All right, well, let's move on to our second little point here, which we thought we would share some of the sayings that we grew up with, like from parents or grandparents.
Yeah.
So what say you, Catherine?
Well, like you, I can't say all of them that my parents would say.
Yeah, because this is a G-rated
right
broadcast.
I was thinking to myself, wow, yeah, my dad did say some things that, you know, it really would not be appropriate to share. And some of these are just phrases. They're not necessarily idioms. But my dad used to always say to me, you're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah.
You know, which means you're being dramatic. You're exaggerating. He used to say that to me a lot.
Well, I wonder why.
I wonder. Another one was, I give you an inch, you take a mile. And, you know, of course, these are ones that they seem a little more on the negative side. But, you know, when you're a kid, those are the things that I think maybe stick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can remember him saying that a lot, you know, and of course I was upset.
Well, yeah, because you're a kid and you're trying to take your mile.
Well, yeah, well, who wouldn't? Why wouldn't I?
That's what we call the sinful nature.
Exactly.
You don't have to learn how to sin. It just comes naturally.
Yeah. Another, I'm painting such a bad picture of my dad. He wasn't.
All parents say
had
these
their
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'd say, keep your 2 cents to yourself. Or, for 2 cents, I'd fill in the blank.
You know, I wonder if somewhere down the line, somebody would pay 2 cents for advice or something. Or for
I wonder.
your opinion.
Yeah. And I
keep your
probably
2 cents to yourself.
Probably. Yeah. Cute. And then one just fun thing that he used to say all the time before we were getting ready to go somewhere that my sister reminded me that he used to say all the time. It was, let's went.
What's that mean?
Let's went. Let's go. But he meant past tense. You're like, let's go now. Let's
really?
get going.
I've
Giddy
never
up.
heard that.
Giddy up.
Let's went.
Let's went.
Let us went. Let's went.
Just let's went.
Well, I know,
You
but
know.
let's is let us. Let us went.
Yeah.
Bizarro. Well, cool.
Yeah. So, and then my mom, she had a ton of them. I tried to narrow it down.
Catherine's mom is from Great Britain.
Yeah.
Is it Great Britain or is it called England or is it both?
Well, when we were growing up, we didn't really say Great Britain.
Okay.
She would say home. She'd call it home or England.
England. Okay, her mom's from England.
So, which comes this phrase, I don't think anybody here uses it, but my mom would say it all the time in a derogatory way, usually. And it was if, you know, we as kids, like we just left our mess or whatever. And she would say, oh, sure, leave it for dogs. I always used to think she was saying dog's bunny, but I just recently learned after all these years, it was dog's buddy, Doreen. Anyway, so body. So
wait. Say the phrase one more time.
She would say, sure, leave it for dog's body, Doreen. But she'd say it so fast, I thought she was saying dog's bunny. And
what does it even mean?
To this day, I'm not quite sure. But like a dog's body, leave it. I don't really know.
Well, her mom's name is Doreen.
Yes, it is.
So
yeah.
she was complaining that you were leaving the mess for her to clean up. But I don't understand the dog's body or dog's bunny and then your name.
Yeah, I don't quite either, other than it's like, leave it for the dogs. You know, I'm your dog.
Oh, okay.
You know, type thing. This is very derogatory.
I used to say to my boys, the maid quit.
Yeah. Well, you'd think. And the reason I learned that it's actually dog's body, not dog's bunny, is because we put the subtitles on the British shows that we watch.
Oh.
And we're currently, my husband and I, watching Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
And that came across, one of the servants was saying that.
Wow.
Leave it for dog's bunny, or I'm your dog's bunny. Body. See, I'm still saying bunny.
It's ingrained.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
She used to say all the time, take care of your pennies and your pennies will take care of your pounds. Well, pounds was like the equivalent of $1 here.
Right.
So
So be mindful of your money
of
and
your
it'll
money.
accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is very true.
Mm-hmm. And one thing she said that everybody says here, but she would say it so fast, I didn't know what the heck she was saying, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Of the other.
Mm-hmm. So same thing.
Yeah, right. Don't count your chickens before the eggs have hatched. She said that all the time. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. And then for relationship matters, these are things she would say all the time, like warnings. Birds of a feather flock together. Be careful who you hang out with. On like boys, things like that. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Keep more than one on the line or hook. She always said that. Yeah.
And then we found her diary after your dad passed. Remember?
Right, you're right.
What was that guy's name that we read about in there?
Yeah. John.
That's right. So she kind of had a couple of them going at once.
And so here's
cheeky bugger.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And then if I was sad, every cloud has a silver lining. Aww. So those are common. Yeah. But she said them a lot.
So they stuck.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how idioms work, right? It's a way to communicate that gives you like a visual picture, whatever. Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that all you have from your parents? Yep. Well, I can't say most of mine because my dad had a very colorful language. But he did used to say, you can't hoot with the owls if you want to soar with the eagles.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't stay out late if you want to get up early.
Yeah.
Yeah. In teenage years, he would, say that as we're going out, my brother and sister and I and stuff. And then he would make a habit of falling asleep on the floor. And one time I came home late. And I was sneaking in, like we lived in a house that had creaky doors and stuff. It was old. So I was opening the door real slow. And my parents' bedroom was right at the front of the house, the very first room. So all I had to do was get past that. And then I could book it to my room, which was the next door. Well, cheeky bugger. He laid himself asleep between his room and my room. So he was laying across the floor like that. And I started to truck past his room and I tripped right over him and landed right on him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then he just gave me a
caught you.
Yeah.
Caught you red-handed, which is another idiom.
Oh, okay, I read about that one. The red-handed is something about blood. Like stealing a cow or something, or...
Oh, that's not what I read.
What'd you read?
It was literally with your hands in blood because you've done the deed. You've committed
murdered somebody?
Yeah.
Well, let's pretend like it's the cow.
Yeah. Well.
But my dad had a lot of phrases, and that's about the only one that I can really repeat. My mom, I put this little phrase at the beginning of my book. I do have a book, if you're interested. It's called Laugh Anyway, Mom. And it says, time waits for no one.
Yeah.
She used to say that in the most negative way. Every morning. Okay, so now my recollection, it feels like it was every morning. It may not have been.
Right.
Okay. But my brother and sister and I are all very close in age. It was just like boom, boom, boom. Here are the 3 Moran kids. That was us. And we had to get up and out the door to go to high school. And my mom had to get to work.
Yeah.
So she would just be flying around the house yelling. Time waits for no one.
Which always sounds great in the morning.
When you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And it was the most obnoxious alarm clock, And, but we we managed. Obviously, we survived high school, and she survived that season and everything. And she had passed. She passed away when she was only 51, so she was quite young when she passed. And so that phrase, time waits for no one, took on a whole new meaning as I was like, oh, she was right.
Yeah.
Doesn't wait.
Yeah.
And we know that's true. Time doesn't wait. So the bottom line of that is use your time well. Appreciate your day. Appreciate the people that are in front of you.
Very true.
Yes, Catherine, I appreciate you. I'm going to try not to scare you for at least a month. How about that?
Good one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But see, you create the opportunity. And
then see, you're very political. You could be a politician.
It's your fault that I scare you. It's all you. I had to do it. Anyways, all right. So those are our idioms that we can recall from our families.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, we want to share a reminder of some things that can be insulting. We were going to go over that. Remember we talked about that yesterday?
Yes, we did.
And you have that.
Well, I have some. Like one of them was the one that I had said earlier about, what did I say was rude, actually?
Well, any of them can be... Any of them can be negative, if they're said in a negative way, just like the one that I just said, with my mom. Could be taken in an inspirational way, or it can be taken in a very negative way.
That's very
on one's
true.
Tone.
Yes. Like if someone says, well, there's no account for taste, that's it's quite rude, because obviously it's a disapproval
right.
of another's choice of something.
Right.
Yeah. But that's all I have. I didn't realize we were going to have a list of them.
Oh, sorry.
I just have one.
Well,
yeah, just be mindful, because there are some that are,
yeah,
can be used in a negative light.
Well,
that we use all, I think we do it a lot.
We do have to be mindful of our words and be careful of how we say them.
Yes, definitely. That makes a huge difference.
It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Tone, your actual content, your actual words
mm-hmm.
are not the primary communicator. Right. So it's the nonverbals that are the primary communicator, even if it's like the tone, even if it's a
mm-hmm.
audible,
mm-hmm.
but it's not the word.
Right.
So tone makes a big difference. Emphasis on which word makes a difference. Your body language makes a difference.
Did we go over this before?
Well, we did it in the listening episode.
Yeah.
Because that's all part of that.
Mm.
But what just came into my mind was, in my comedy act, I talk about when I sort of forced my husband to have a vasectomy
mm-hmm.
when I was pregnant with the 5th child.
Yes.
I mean, in my mind, I'm like, I'm done. This is it. And I had already made the appointment for him, unbeknownst to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he came home from work that day when I just reached my limit. I'm like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having any more kids. So I don't know where you're going to go, but this is it. And I asked him the question, do you want to do it? Now, in the content, the first time I asked him the question, it meant have a vasectomy.
Right.
Okay. And then he said no.
Mm-hmm.
The audacity.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So then I rephrased it to, do you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Which had
with the emphasis on
the it. And it didn't mean vasectomy anymore.
Right.
It meant something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, if you don't do it, we don't do it. So now I'm mixing it all up, And then he did do it.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd have 10 kids.
Oh my gosh.
I would.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to, that leads in nicely to our Bible verse, because our Bible verse, not vasectomies, but our Bible verse talks about, being mindful with your words, careful. It's Proverbs 18:21, and it says, well, then maybe it does have to do with vasectomies. Listen to this. The tongue has the power of life and death. Mm-hmm. Although a vasectomy isn't really a death, but it's kind of. The tongue has the power of life and death. So we have to remember that our words matter. Mm-hmm. They carry power. They carry influence. And we have the power to lift up, and we also have the power to tear down. So be careful.
Yeah.
Try not to tear down. And if you do tear down, say you're sorry. Yeah. And then try not to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next episode, number 37. We're going to get to that next week. And it's one of my favorites. When should your children pay rent? And their own expenses. So we're going to be getting into that like empty nest.
Tracy's all lit up.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, woo.
I'm kind of opposite. I'm like, oh gosh, should we have to do this painful? This is not this episode, but that subject.
It's painful?
I think it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about it next week. So you've been listening to the Life Happens Laugh Anyway podcast, and I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.